Tesla is one of the early pioneers and makes Mr. Elon Musk a household name and rich, very rich. But General Motors works on it, Ford works on it, Toyota works on it, everybody works on it. But here we are now, 15 years later. The Chinese have automobile companies. They work on it too. But they win. They win the competition. The best car, best electric car and truck, at the lowest price, is made by the BYD Corporation, precisely unknown in the United States for a simple reason. They're not permitted to come here. If you go to Europe today and you go on the highways, you'll see BYD vehicles all over the place. Why? Mr. Biden, first Mr. Trump, put a 27% tariff on electric vehicles from China. And then Mr. Biden, while he was still president, raised it to 100%. So if you want to get a BYD electric car, say it costs $30,000. If you're an American company or an American individual, you would have to come up with 30 grand that goes to China to buy the car. And then 100%, another 30 grand that goes to Uncle Sam as a tariff, costing you $60,000. What does this mean? It means that Americans won't buy the Chinese car because it's 60 grand, and they can get for 45 or 50,000 a Tesla or a GM. This is a tariff that protects Tesla and GM. That's why it's there. But it denies to the American people access to the best electric vehicle at the lowest price. And now let me explain very briefly why that is stupid. Okay? American companies compete with companies in the rest of the world. American companies that make shoes, if there are any left, American companies that make anything. They need trucks, for example. They need a truck to bring the inputs to wherever they carry out production, and they need trucks to take the output to wherever it's sold, right? So trucks are widely used input here in America by American companies and everywhere else in the world. But everywhere else in the world is now going to be able to get the best quality electric truck for $30,000. Whereas their American competitor could only get the best electric truck if they paid $60,000, which they won't. They'll buy an inferior truck and still pay more than their competitor pays for the superior truck. And you know what that means? American companies are going to lose the competition and eventually lay off the workers since they can't sell their products that have been too expensively produced. So you're protecting the workers at GM and Ford, but at the expense of not only many other American workers, but I can tell you as a mathematical economist, we cannot know whether the jobs we protect in the automobile industry won't be overwhelmed by the jobs we lose as a result of this tariff. Okay, we live in a society, which I may jump ahead in our conversation, in which we allow a president to do Mr. Trump, to do remarkable things. One, to constantly misspeak about tariffs. By now it's intentional, because we're going to hit the Chinese. Chinese people don't pay our tariffs. We do. The tariff is a tax on imports. All right? That means the Republican Party, for 100 years, the party advocating tax cuts, has become overnight a party championing taxes, namely tariffs. That already ought to make people go, what's going on here? But he slides out from that by having large numbers of Americans, all the polls show it, think that the tariff is paid by the people over there, non-American. It isn't. No, it's real simple. It isn't. But number two, he never tells you what are the, how do I put this? What are the negatives? What are the side effects of a tariff? Now, tariffs have been around for centuries. There is an immense literature in economics about tariffs. There's nothing new about it. There's nothing unheard of. If you take a course in international trade, in any economics program that I'm familiar with, and I'm familiar with a lot of them, I've taught this material. You teach it. There's a segment of the course about tariffs. And what you do is you teach, when are tariffs used? What do they achieve? What are the problems? What are the negative and positive? And they're both side effects. But we have a president who talks about this is a win-win-win-win situation. This is moronic. It doesn't understand the literature, which never says that. It doesn't understand even what it is doing. And it's a continual fooling of the people into thinking that, we're going to reshore, bring industry back because we're going to make it too expensive for them to. Yes, there'll be some of that. But there'll be all these other things which the literature is full of, because these are lessons that have been learned by people who did this. All of this is magicked away. It's a stunning, that Mr. Trump, he doesn't understand it. It's clear to me, because if he did, the level of lying, maybe he's capable of it, but I'll give him the benefit that I find that hard to understand. But that the New York Times and the others, Paul Krugman writes for the New York Times. He's a Nobel Prize, and his specialty is international trade. He knows. Come on. And many like him know. But there's this America, and that's, again, the legacy of the Cold War. You don't. Even this weird Trump character, because these are often liberals that don't like him, they can't bring themselves to be reasonably critical. That may change, but for the moment, I'm here explaining the economics of tariffs to people. I do it all the time because they ask all the time, and you should see them in the audiences. They're all. That's because I'm telling them something that they don't know, and that's not their fault. That should be. What are you doing, mister? Why are you doing a tariff when you know that, yes, you will protect the jobs of the immediately affected, but there are all these other consequences? What? It's like announcing I'm taking over the Panama Canal. You can't do that because of the ramifications. What are you? You've been denouncing Mr. Putin for 3 years. That he invaded another country and took something that isn't his. You just announced you're going to do that. What? What do you think that has? You don't have to worry. You just met a tough guy. Stop. This isn't serious. But with him, this exaggerated bluster got him the election because it's the naughty boy. And he's being naughty again. And the whole world is more naughty, and it works. But man, those negative side effects, they don't go away because you pretend they're not there. That's like the little child, and I did this with you, I'm sure. The little 3-year-old confronts the scary doggy in the park, and he or she puts their little hands in front of their eyes because they think if they can't see the dog, it won't be there. But by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, they have learned the lesson. You can do that. The doggy's still there. Mr. Trump and this country are engaged in levels of denial that I look at and I go, wow. What is going on in a society that would do this? Why self-delude? What possible? And if we, as I believe, or I hope we do, talk about the internal contradictions of the economic program of Mr. Trump, then you'll see that this is what I've just told you is all over the place.